And we are live. Welcome to Staking Mondays. Staking Mondays is a weekly show where we share knowledge with key staking industry leaders with our community. And of course, this is all powered by StakingRewards.com. As Staking Rewards, we are helping investors navigate the landscape of yield-generating digital assets, helping them find the best opportunities to earn interest on crypto. And this is season 2, everyone. Welcome. If you want to watch any of the past episodes, head on over to Spotify or our YouTube at Staking Rewards. My name is Ken, and I'm here today with co-founder of Staking Rewards, Merkel Schmiedel, and we are delighted to welcome today's guest, Cryptocito. And Cryptocito, he actually entered the crypto space in 2017, studying blockchain technology and monetary policies after working at Mercedes-Benz for 3 years. Since then, he has co-founded Crypto Mondays Shanghai, which has evolved as China's largest crypto community. He's created the YouTube channel Cryptocito, where he helps viewers to take smarter decisions. He became an investor in early-stage crypto startups, namely the Cosmos ecosystem, and recently organized the recent Cosmoverse conference in Lisbon. So welcome, Cryptocito. How are you doing?
What's up? How are you? Yeah, thanks for having me here. It's a real honor to be on this show. I've seen it a couple of times before, and now actually being here as a guest is a real honor. So yeah, also thanks for this introduction. It's actually the first time ever that somebody read it out to me, and it sounds pretty cool. So crypto is an amazing industry. Lots of noise left and right, but I think after all, we're all still in the same boat and are all still figuring this out. So yeah, really glad to be here and talk about crypto and Cosmos.
Absolutely, and it's good to be on the other side of the interview chair for once here. So to give you a little icebreaker here, so which crypto project, first spiked your interest outside of BTC and Ethereum, and why was that?
Ooh, that's a good question. When I entered this industry, I had zero investment background, so I didn't really know, how things work. And I think I was still on this train that, Bitcoin and Ethereum are kind of like these established networks where everybody has already made their money. So I was immediately dragged into, okay, what is a low cap gem that I can find and 100x, So I think one of the earlier coins that I invested in, like in the very early days, was actually ADA, I think. ADA, XRP, and I think EOS back then was pretty big. So I was like, man, I want to invest my money into this. So those, I think, were the first three coins that I got into outside of Bitcoin and Ethereum. And I've done pretty well in the 2017. It was absolutely nuts. At least EOS has lost a lot of traction and actually didn't really achieve much. So, and now I'm mostly in Cosmos. So it was a good shift.
Yeah, well, you definitely hedge your bets in the right areas, it seems. And it's so cool to see, over the course of 3-4 years, how different the landscape can look. And I just wanted to tease a little giveaway here with everyone watching, whether you're watching on the Staking Rewards channel, or it looks like we're paired here with the Cryptocito channel as well. So we're going to have community questions. If you guys have any question that's you want to ask, feel free to type it in the chat here. And the best community question, the person who asked that will actually be awarded a Staking Rewards t-shirt today. So make sure you guys ask those questions.
I want that t-shirt.
Well, maybe you have another question later for us, and we can consider that. Anyway, let's jump right into it. Actually, I want to thank you for organizing the Cosmoverse conference lately. It was an amazing outcome, I think. There were over 700 people joining, and you just did that in organizing in over 2 months, if I'm right. And that's pretty impressive. I was really amazed by all the people there and everything. The whole setup was very, very professional. So that was amazing. And as a question, how was it for you? How was the experience for you? And what were the most interesting takeaways kind of from the conference? And did you meet any exciting projects or anything there?
Yeah, thanks first of all for the kind words. It was really amazing. And I remember you guys, the Staking Rewards team, and David and you, Mirko, you've been one of the earliest supporters to help spread the word, get people there. In the beginning, it was maybe we can get 100 people together, have some chilled beers and talk about Cosmos. And then, like you said, 700 plus people showed up, 2 full days from 9 a.m. to 6:30 p.m. with speakers and everything. So it was a huge success. Obviously, we had a whole team. It was not just me doing that. But Zil, who is been doing a lot of branding and marketing stuff, then the DeFi Times team, make sure everybody also to follow them. They have done a lot for this conference to happen. I mean, it's been a good team. I don't know, my top learnings. I think honestly, I was a bit surprised to see all these teams actually coming there, right? I mean, I remember I came to the hotel a few days before the event, and suddenly I see the Tenement logo in all these meeting rooms. I'm like, oh my God, there's like 20 people from the Tenement team there. And then the Osmosis team, they came also a week before the event and had their company retreats, right? The IXO team, the Region Network team, Akash, they've all been there. And this was really kind of like over-delivered, I guess, and overwhelmed also from our side. So that was cool. And yeah, I mean, just to see that everybody is in the same room, that was our mission, to get Sunny, the co-founder of Osmosis, get Pang, the CEO of Tendermint, Jack Zampolin, get all of them in one room and let them talk, right? Like that was our goal. And I think mission accomplished from that side. In terms of new projects, yeah, man, there's a lot of new projects that I haven't even like really heard about before, right? For example, one that already announced a big airdrop as well is Loom Network, right? And the whole team was there and they absolutely killed it, became a last minute sponsor also for the after party. So Loom Network is one. They're building a business trust engine, basically the trust pilot for companies and startups. Then Umi, unfortunately, Brent couldn't make it in person, but Umi is another lending protocol that is launching on Cosmos. I think they're targeting for mainnet still in December. Axelar, huge project. Agoric, smart contract platform for JavaScript developers. There's so much. I mean, the list goes on. Lots of projects, incredible people from all over the world. We had people from Hong Kong, from Korea, from Argentina, Colombia, US, all over Europe. I mean, it was really amazing.
Yeah, that sounds like it. And what a great success with all those attendees and, definitely the partners that you had there as well. So break us into Cosmos a little bit here. What is Cosmos all about and what excites you most about the Cosmos ecosystem?
So I think the thing that excites me most, you can actually see I'm wearing a Near hoodie, but it's simply because it's cold in Lisbon and it's one of the best hoodies I ever wore. But the thing about Cosmos is I can wear this Near hoodie and no one's gonna call me out for it, It's a very open ideology. It's more like inclusive, Let's build a multi-chain future where we have a million or millions of blockchains and they're all kind of like connected to each other, right? So this has been the core ideology of Cosmos, is to be the internet of blockchains, the actual Web3, right? I think the term Web3 is getting more and more attention these days, and metaverse and all these kind of things. And I think Cosmos is one of the closest to actually fulfilling that term now that IBC has gone live in February or March this year, the inter-blockchain communication protocol, which makes it possible for sovereign blockchains, that's the key word here, sovereign blockchains, individual independent blockchains to be connected to each other, right? And this is revolutionary in my opinion. I think it took 2-3 months for it to get the first killer application. Osmosis came around, absolutely killed it. They have now 30, 40, 50,000 monthly active users. I'm sure all of us are farming on Osmosis and providing liquidity there. So in short, basically Cosmos is the internet of blockchains, the platform that seamlessly connects all sovereign blockchains. And in the future also Bitcoin with Ethereum, right? And EVM compatibilities are on the way right now. And then you will have substrate compatibility, which means Kusama and Polkadot on board, right? And like all these ecosystems outside of Cosmos, right? So I think that's an ideology that resonates a lot with me, and that's why I'm so heavy on it and focus my research time, my energy, and everything onto that ecosystem, but more precisely onto that ideology, philosophy, and also the community. So I think community is also a major part of it that makes it so attractive. So yeah, that's basically what Cosmos is and what really attracts me about the whole ecosystem.
Yeah, very well said. I think it's really like this, the narratives from the protocol itself, they are transferred to the community, or you can see them in the community as like being very inclusive. I can definitely feel that in the Cosmos ecosystem. So it's very cool. I really like it as well. And
also, if I can add one point here, I think later we'll talk a little bit more about it. But from an architectural, technical standpoint, Cosmos is built in a way that is, in my opinion, very, very democratic and very open, because it enables anybody to spin up their own chain, use Cosmos technology without having to purchase and log up Atom, right? Which is what you have to do on Polkadot, more or less. Obviously, not as crazy bullish for the Atom price as it is for what Polkadot has in their architecture for the dot price. But I think that's something that over the next months and years is going to prove itself, that if the technology works, you can actually think about implementing something like shared security for the Cosmos hub, where you can pack new chains to the hub and then accrue value for Atom in the longer run, right? I think that's an approach that the Cosmos community or developer community separates from, for example, Polkadot, is that, they first build out the technology, put it out there for everyone to use. People started using it. And now you can actually see, okay, we have traction. Now, how do we improve the game theory, maybe the tokenomics, maybe the circulating demand, right? And all these kind of things. But I think that makes it more open and democratic. And I think that's something that is really, really key to understand, is that, sure, crypto, everybody wants to make money in crypto. We all love that. I'm happy to catch another 10x here or there, but it's still about building this Web3 environment, and you have to focus on technology. And I think Cosmos, at least from my research over the past 3, 4, or 5 years, actually, is one of the most sophisticated and most complete technologies out there, right? I think the first parachain, is it already live now? Akala, I think they won their first slot. But that's basically the birth of Polkadot now, right? And Cosmos already shipped IBC more than half a year ago. So there's a lot of things that, I think are really, really important to understand. Because in the beginning, I didn't really understand, what is Cosmos? I remember the first video I made was the forgotten brother of Polkadot, and then introducing Cosmos. So I didn't really know what it is about. But now I really understand how it differentiates. And it's actually the exact opposite of Polkadot. And still pursues this philosophy to interoperate with all other ecosystems.
Yeah, and they do have a progressive take on governance anyway. I think IBC is already the 5th upgrade, like the first big upgrade really that they did, and everything went smooth so far. Yeah. So what do you think is the best case scenario for Cosmos in general? How does the world look like in which Cosmos is very successful or reaches its full potential kind of? How does that look like?
I think the goal is to really have hundreds of thousands, maybe 1 million. I think the actual KPI for Tenement is to have 1 million blockchains by, I don't know, in the next 10 years, all interoperable through IBC. So the goal is to really have as many chains as possible launching on Cosmos, using Cosmos technology. And I think the more we see that, anybody who's out there watching and who has used Osmosis and has made an IBC transfer, they have already experienced what that means, right? And imagine now you could do that with the Aave of Cosmos, or with all these synthetic asset marketplaces, NFT marketplaces, right? And you have true interoperability without having to sacrifice speed or security or cost or decentralization. I think that's something that would be the ideal scenario for Cosmos, is to basically not just replicate, but even innovate and advance everything that Ethereum has right now, with IB and pair that with IBC, and Tenement as the consensus engine, and just build this true internet of blockchains. And that also means that we could potentially offload Bitcoin or even Dogecoin or even Ethereum itself onto Cosmos as a separate zone or a separate hub within the Cosmos ecosystem. And then you have full interoperability. And then the end goal could be that IBC could evolve as the TCP/IP standard for the blockchain economy, for the Web3 economy. And I think that's what a lot of people are working towards too. And I think, honestly, from my kind of like view, the hardest thing has already been accomplished, which is to actually ship IBC. I think that took a while, and people have already dropped out along the way towards the launch. But now that it's actually there, it actually works. Then people notice like, hey man, this thing is actually pretty cool. Let's explore it. I think yesterday Zcash announced that they're gonna build on Cosmos now and also want to implement IBC. So it's about reaching this critical mass, this critical network effect, and then from there, I think it's gonna be wow, you actually miss out a lot of value for your own project if you don't implement IBC. So I think once we reach that point, it's going to be a snowball that just gets bigger and bigger and bigger, and then it's kissing goodbye.
Yeah, and in hearing about the Zcash moving to Cosmos SDK, I think in our little private chat, we had a little laugh about that this morning, trying to think of which memes we can create around that event. But you already kind of compared the two, Cosmos and Polkadot. If you could go deeper into the comparison of those two, what benefits does Cosmos have over Polkadot? What makes them specifically different?
So I think, first of all, one thing that makes Polkadot really, really successful is this narrative around Dr. Gavin Wood being the co-founder of Ethereum, right? They have a star founder, similar to Cardano, star founder in Solana. They have SBF, right? Like they have a very well-known people in the space with millions of followers, hundreds of thousands at least. Cosmos doesn't really have that, right? The Cosmos co-founders, Ethan Buckman and Jay Kwon, they're very under the radar. They're not really very, very, very vocal and public and loud about what they do and how and whatever. But Polkadot has that star founder, and I think that's a big plus for them, just from a team perspective. From an architectural standpoint, I think, like I was basically alluding to earlier, Polkadot has this Relaychain parachain model, right? So the Relaychain is basically what Polkadot actually is, right? So if you say Polkadot, you actually talk about the Relaychain. And the only purpose of the Relaychain is to be the security source for parachains, right? So the Relaychain doesn't really do anything. It's supposed to be credibly neutral. It doesn't have a DEX running on it. It doesn't have any kind of features that require a lot of computing or processing. It's there as a security source, right? And then what happens is you have this scarcity on the parachains that pack to it, right? So you have this auction model where projects have to raise a lot of DOT from the community, lock it up for minimum 2 years, and then get access to that security from the Relaychain in order to actually be on Polkadot. So, and I had Emin Gunsiro, the founder of Avalanche, on my channel, and he said it best. He said, in order to launch on Polkadot, you actually have to be Polkadot. So it's kind of very, very hard to get those slots, especially I think if you don't have Gavin's number on your WhatsApp. Akala, the team behind Akala, I had Dan Rees from my channel. He was a lead person at Parity before he went on and joined Akala, right? So it's kind of like a closed circle. Maybe that's also fine. You have to stress test the whole architecture, the whole system. You don't want anybody to use it right away. But it's kind of very narrow in the beginning. And personally, I've talked to many parachain candidates or those that want to become a parachain on Polkadot, and it's just impossible to get a slot there, right? I mean, even on Kusama, I think the first couple of auctions raised $300-400 million. Like a new startup with not too many funds, maybe a relatively young small community, they're excluded. They're basically priced out on that in that sense. And on Cosmos, in contrast, you have the exact opposite, right? So basically, the Cosmos SDK and the whole architecture, Tenement as the consensus algorithm, IBC as this interoperability protocol, are all there to use. And the hardest thing that Cosmos has already basically achieved is to get all these projects that launch on Cosmos to spin up their own validator set, their own security model, right? So it's not packed to the Cosmos Hub. You could compare the Cosmos Hub to the Polkadot Relaychain, but in fact, the core Cosmos developers over the past 2 or 3 years, they decided not to start with shared security because that would create a lot of scarcity, artificial scarcity, and a lot of also dependencies on the Cosmos hub. Because in Polkadot, if the Relaychain goes down, parachains are wrecked, right? If in Cosmos, the Cosmos hub goes down, nobody's wrecked. So I think that's a core difference from a technical standpoint. And you already have a bunch of chains part of the Cosmos ecosystem, right? You've seen it at Cosmoverse, lots of projects that already went live, Region Network, Osmosis, Akash, Secret Network. There's a lot of them that also have very high market caps, right? Even CRO, and they're now spinning up a completely new chain that even implements EVM compatibility. So basically, if you think about it, Polkadot and Cosmos try to achieve the same, but they start on the other end of the spectrum, right? So I think Polkadot has to go more towards opening it up, and that's what Para Threads eventually will do, is that you can sublease your parachain space to other projects. I think that's a cool idea, but nobody's really working on it. Plus, they also want to implement their IBC-like version for Polkadot, but I think it's not, I don't know what's the roadmap for it, but it's definitely not live yet, and I don't know if it's still coming in the next half year or so. So they've focused more on that, and that's fine. It worked out really well for the DOT price and for the KSM price, and they have the Canary network, right? Those are cool things. On the other hand, you have Atom and Cosmos that are now going to start, implementing some of the ideas that also Polkadot has done with the current Canary network, right? They just announced a Sega network, and then they're also going to implement interchain security. So that's a big thing that's going to come. And I think it also comes in the right moment, because now you see so many smart people, smart ideas, entrepreneurs, cryptopreneurs, they recognize Cosmos technology actually is pretty cool. So they want to launch a chain on it. And interchain security just helps them to get to the market faster, right? So you can just basically get Atom validators to also validate blocks on this new chain. And I think that's also a cool concept. It's optional. You can still launch your own chain, but also there's going to be a different negotiation mechanism. So you don't have these crazy hundreds of millions of dollars that will be locked up and get away for the project to go live. So I think that's really, really important to understand. Polkadot and Cosmos are both basically experimental, and both seem to work out. Polkadot only just is going live right now with the first parachain with Akala. Cosmos already has a lot more to actually show, and to use. But I think both will succeed. I'm just personally more bullish on the ideology of Cosmos, on their approach, and very, very bullish on also the long-term value accrual for Atom, given that IBC routing is coming, given that interchain security is coming. Plus, you'll see more and more utility through something like Comdex, which just went live, Umi that is going to go live. So you have lending, you have synthetic asset marketplaces, NFT stuff, liquid staking, superfluid staking. There's so many things that are coming, and I think that's going to drag in a lot of eyeballs into the ecosystem as well.
Yeah, that's very, very great points. And I would actually love to revisit that conversation in in a few years' time and see which of these approaches actually proves to be the most kind of the most successful one, I guess. Both of them are definitely legit, and Cosmos has been able to attract a lot of talent, and it's quite innovative in general, I think. It's just going to be a matter of bringing them together on the spectrum and seeing which approach is the best, maybe. And after all, so talking a bit about Cosmos staking, are you staking your atoms yourself? What kind of staking solution are you using, and how does this decision-making process look like for you when you choose a certain validator or any other staking solution in the market? How do you choose that? And maybe to give a bit of context for everyone listening, how do you approach your staking, especially specifically for Atom? I mean.
So, okay, great question. When I started, a couple of years ago, when proof of stake really became a thing, and I was still using centralized exchanges for most things, because back then we didn't have DEXs or AMMs, right? I remember the first AMM that I used, or the first DEX, was Ether Delta, and the user experience was absolutely trash. It's so bad. So I was mostly active on centralized exchanges. And then I saw, you could stake through Kraken, you could stake through Binance, and they give you good yields. Binance Earn is pretty good. You can lock it up even for 30, 60 days. You get more of it. So I started with that. And at one point, I'm like, wait, if I stake through centralized exchanges or any centralized provider, I don't really get airdrops. I don't really own the coins, right? Not your keys, not your coins. So there's a lot of kind of downsides to it. And that's why at one point I'm like, man, I gotta withdraw everything. I'm done with centralized exchanges. And you sacrifice the performance. They don't upgrade the chains. They don't upgrade their nodes. It's like they're not really they make money with it, and that's fine. I think centralized exchanges are great in terms of dragging in new people, making it easy for the average person, like when I started, to really trade cryptos. But I'm like, man, actually, if I hold coins in self-custody, I can stake with higher returns. I can maybe even reuse them. I can do something like liquid staking. Plus, I learn much more because I have to do everything myself. And I'm a true crypto Web3 user, right? So the best way to stake any Cosmos coin is through Kepler Wallet. I stumbled upon it pretty early when I had early conversations with Jack earlier this year in February or something, and he's like, "Man, Kepler is the number one wallet, so get yourself a wallet there." And yeah, I'm really happy with Kepler. Cosmos Station is another one that is really, really well. And they also have, both of them actually now have mobile versions, so it's pretty easy to use, very simplistic and straightforward. And yeah, in terms of choosing a validator, that's a very good question, because again, when I started, I had no clue what commissions are. I didn't know who these validators are, how to set it up or whatever. So I just delegated to whoever had the lowest commission, right? It's like, oh, 0%, cool, I'm gonna take it. But then I really started to understand more and more how this whole industry works, and I figured out that it's better to delegate to nodes that are active in the ecosystem, active in the community, that maybe even develop some things, because those that actually are building stuff, some of them even take revenue from their nodes to build this, right? Sunny Agarwal, the co-founder of Osmosis, said they used Sika revenue, Sika is their validator, to kind of pay salaries for Osmosis people. So Osmosis employees, right, in the very beginning, before they even launched. That's why they also airdropped ions to Sika delegators. So it's and sure, they have higher commissions, but they're also actually building stuff. So I think if you really want to, if you're really interested in a certain project, whatever that is, whether it's Ethereum, Cosmos, Polkadot, Near, whatever it is, Solana, try to find a validator, not just with the goal to have the highest commissions, but the lowest commissions, but also delegate to someone who is building. Maybe talk to them. Maybe figure out if you can help them or they can help you, or if you have a feedback for their product, right? I think this is more in the sense of crypto. And personally, I then started to spin up my own nodes, because I'm got really active in the space, and then spinned up Stakecito. So that's my personal node that I'm running now on 7 or 8 different chains, mostly Cosmos. But still, I'm also delegating some of my coins to other nodes, right? So even though I'm running a node myself, I think it's also good to diversify to other nodes from a decentralization point of view, but also to support them in and show them hey, you do a great job. I'm delegating to your node, and I really appreciate what you do. So I think there's many aspects that go into it besides just chasing yields. That's why that's kind of my methodology here. And also, whenever you stake, you always maximize the eligibility for airdrops as well. And some projects, some nodes actually only give coins to people that delegate to their node, right? Ion for Sika, Desmos to Forbol. What else? We have a couple of more, I think. But yeah, I think Chorus One. I'm not sure if they did one, but yeah, there's a couple of projects. Like if you delegate to their node, they reward you with coins in case they spin up a chain, and you never know. Maybe the Stakecito, Cryptocito chain is gonna come in a year or 2 or 3. I don't know, but yeah. So those are my thoughts.
Definitely getting us excited there with the teaser at the end. And it looks like you have even Stovetop77 in the comments here as a satisfied user of the Stakecito validator. And for anyone that hasn't seen what StakingRewards.com is, we actually provide great resources for you to help make decisions on choosing validators, going to a specific asset profile page and then seeing all the different validators that are listed there. You can even go into those specific validator profiles and get further links and FAQs on them. So really great resource there as well to help make your choices.
Yeah, and actually when I started to, so when proof of stake chains really became a thing sometime last year, and Cardano mainnet went live, Polkadot kind of like, had staking rewards. StakingRewards.com was my first place to go. I discovered this page very early on, and I was like, man, this is the best way to just compare yields, to compare which chain has how many coins locked in those pools. And you can even click through validators and see who is behind, link to their website. This is the best and easiest way to do your research, because on all these explorers, you don't really have a lot of information to navigate through to take a decision. Okay, I prefer this node over that node. So what you guys are building is really, really cool and helpful, because it saves so much time in your research and figuring out which chain I want to stake on and to which node I want to delegate. So it helped me personally a lot, and I think in the past I've did many videos, where like compare the yields and the nodes on staking rewards. So that's a really helpful site.
Great to hear. Cryptocito is a native user of staking rewards. And this is actually a good transition into the next question here. So was watching one of your previous interviews you had tagged to the top of your Twitter profile, and it was talk about Binance being the #1 validator for the Cosmos hub. And this was identified as sort of a concern because they didn't always remain active in voting and so on and so forth. So what's a good solution to avoid a large concentration of stake to a single validator service?
That's a very good question. I think it's really, really hard for projects to, like, especially when they launch, to launch fully decentralized, right? Fully decentralized also means in terms of the ownership in the network and the governance structure. And you still see that, I don't know exact numbers, but I'm sure that like the early Ethereum people still have a lot of ETH. Satoshi himself still has 5% of all Bitcoins. All these other chains that came up new, Solana, Cardano, Near. Centralized ownership in the beginning is inevitable. Like you can't avoid it. So is the distribution of the nodes, right? Because early nodes, when they got spun up, they just foster themselves, and it's really hard to get rid of them or outcompete them, because simply they have a long track record. And the thing is also about Binance or Coinbase or Kraken, since they have front ends implemented into their exchange, people that are already users of their platform just have a one-click boom stake, and you're already kind of like delegated to them behind the scenes, right? So that's what actually happens there, and it's really, really hard to outcompete that. The best thing, and that's also my mission with my YouTube channel Cryptocito, is to make people aware that, hey, everything that I just explained, not your keys, not your coins, not your keys, not your airdrop. You have higher yields if you're outside of it. You have more control. You have more decentralization that you actively contribute, right? A lot of people complain about, oh, this chain is not decentralized, oh, this chain is not decentralized, but then hold their coins on centralized exchanges, right? Everybody has the same responsibility to contribute to actively decentralizing the crypto space. And I think we have to all get aware of that. So that's why it's really, really hard to get rid of that. I had the co-founder of Cosmos on my channel who said that in the clip, we need to get rid of Binance because they're also not even like actively contributing anymore. I think in the early days they did a bit more, but now it's very static. They don't really upgrade their nodes. And but it's hard to get rid of them for the reasons that I just said. So only thing that happens is make people aware.
Hopefully that comes just naturally. I saw like Binance actually just offer like a 1.2% yield or something on Cosmos. If you don't lock it up, it's like they have the flexible staking and the locked staking. So if you do the flexible one, then you get 1.2% or something, and then the flexible you get a bit more. I don't know. But yeah, I mean, it seems like or like one issue why people probably would prefer something like that is like Cosmos does have like these 3-week unlock or like unbonding period, and that like someone just pointed it out in the comments as well. And that's like it's a bad user experience, and it really like stops you from like being flexible with your trading and general like investment decisions and so on, at least in the short to midterm kind of. But in that sense, do you think like liquid staking solutions will eventually like take over the market where you can like avoid these unbonding periods? Or like what's your stance in general on liquid staking? Like, have you looked into it, or like do you think they will gain significant traction?
Definitely, yeah. I mean, I think first of all, it's important to understand staking rewards are not there to make us rich, right? Staking rewards are there to incentivize people to secure the chain, because that's what proof of stake is you have to get people to stake in order to secure and decentralize the network, right? And in Cosmos case, Atom has a dynamic inflation, which is pegged to however the staking ratio is, right? So the goal is 2/3, 66%. If it's above that, the inflation goes down, so the staking rewards go down, so people might undelegate. If the threshold is less than 66%, then the staking rewards go up, so people are incentivized to stake, right? So it's more of a kind of like securing the network mechanism, and not too much at oh yeah, this must be profitable for the crypto moon boys to get rich quick. I understand that. I also love to increase my coin count, and of course, but I think in the first place, this is not the thing. And also the unbonding periods, I think this is all something that is not, I mean, you can avoid it. It's just that it's not good for the security, right? And also not for the price, but also not for the security. If it was flexible and you can go in and out, I think for some chains, it's they don't want to risk that people at one moment, if it 2x's in a day, the price, that everybody would just undelegate, and then you have very, very low security on your chain suddenly. So, but liquid staking, as you said, I think this changes a bit the nature of the game, and especially superfluid staking, which is something that Sunny proposed. Liquid staking is basically that you can liquefy your staked assets. So, for example, on pStake, you can do that today. You can go on their platform, you can deposit your Atom, and then in the background, those Atom get distributed to different nodes. They have a methodology to which nodes it gets distributed. And then you get a representation of that staked asset on Ethereum, and you can trade it. You can provide liquidity with it, right? There's a pool on Sushi with STK Atom and ETH, I think, where you can just provide liquidity there, right? By the way, they're also going to do an airdrop for people who do that in the early days. So this is something that's really cool. But then you run the danger that you lose your staked representation, right? In Ethereum DeFi, in the Ethereum DeFi jungle. Maybe you suffer impermanent loss, or you trade it for a coin that goes down, and then you have less coins to redeem back. And then the question is, how do you calculate that, right? I think there's a little bit of like concerns about the security, which is why superfluid staking is the inverse of that. Instead of liquefying the staked assets, the protocol just accepts different forms of collateral to be staked, right? So right now on Cosmos, you can only deposit Atom to be staked. But what if you could deposit an LP token, right? A liquidity pool token that can be staked and secures the chain, right? Because in that liquidity pool token, it actually contains atoms, right? So let's say you have an LP share of an Atom Osmo pool, and then you have 50-50% ratio. You could say, okay, I want to like deposit that into the Cosmos chain with my atoms, and then the other 50% through IBC automatically gets deposited and secures the Osmo chain. So you can first earn yield through DeFi, liquidity provision, for example, and then you stake and secure the network. I think Superfluid staking, if it really, really works, they're still like working on it, figuring things out. Takes probably 3-4 months to really have the first versions of it. But this is a concept that I think is really, really cool, because you don't sacrifice security. You actually even accelerate and improve the security and the decentralization, right? And I think that's something really, really exciting. But liquid staking itself as well, I mean, that's also a game changer.
Yeah, and it is a really exciting topic when you're talking about earning a higher yield and providing security to the network at the same time. It's a win-win for everyone. And you already mentioned some other tokens here during the talk, but are you staking any other tokens currently that you could share with us? And which ones have you had the best, most pleasant experience with in terms of staking, UI, UX, rewards, ease of use, and transparency?
Yeah, so I'm sticking a couple of them. I'm just looking up my portfolio. So I'm sticking a couple of them. Obviously, Atom and all Cosmos coins through Kepler is, to me, by far the easiest and best user experience right now in crypto. I tried to stake my DOT a couple of months ago, and it's just really, really like complex and abstract and complicated to like use the Polkadot wallets and set this up. So I'm staking Atom. And all Cosmos coins, right? Akash, Sentinel, Sift Chain, like all these coins. Then I have also, I'm staking Casper, CSPR. I'm also running a node there actually. But they have their Casper signer, which is like from a wallet perspective, a bit user unfriendly, I would say. It's a brand new coin, just launched a couple of months ago. But in terms of like finding your validator you want to delegate to, it's a little bit like unfriendly. Another one that I think is pretty good is the Terra Station. So I bought a couple of Luna almost a year ago. I don't know, something like that. And the Terra Station is pretty straightforward. So that's another one. They also have a browser extension, and then they have other protocols like Anchor or Mirror, so you can also do different stuff there. Celo is another one. I played around with it for a while. They have their Celo wallet, really easy to use as well. So that's another one. In terms of your wallets that make it really easy for you to stake, I'm also using Exodus as well. So the Exodus wallet is also a good one. And yeah, those are my biggest staked assets. But yeah, mostly I'm in Cosmos these days, and it's just so easy to like stake and delegate and redelegate. You can't even redelegate on Casper right now. There's no way to do it. On Cosmos, boom, one click, how many coins you want to redelegate, done, right? Takes a few seconds and really easy to do. And another one that actually nobody ever talks about is Clayton, which is a Korean project from South Korea. They also won the battle of the Bank of Korea to be used as the pilot platform to run their CBDC on. And Clayton also has a really, really cool wallet called Kaikas. And you can also stake your Clay tokens really, really easy through Kaikas. And it's pretty straightforward. That's probably one of the better staking experiences I had. So I would say Cosmos, by far the best one. Then Terra, Luna, and then maybe Clayton. Cardano, I've also played around with it a while ago, especially with Yoroi now, it's much easier to use. So this one is also like simple to like click around with and use it. And then below that, I would say like, Polkadot and all these other, which are much more complex to use. But yeah, mostly Cosmos.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And I can definitely, Polkadot.js is horrible, I think. But yeah, Cosmos is quite straightforward. The only thing is like the onboarding period, but then you have some networks where it's like some Cosmos SDK where it's even less than 21 days, I think. But yeah, it's still quite a lot compared to others. Yeah.
But Polkadot has 28 days, right? So Polkadot is even...
True, yeah. No, Polkadot is the worst, I think.
Yeah. But I think, you can even see that, the longer the unbonding, the better the price, because you can't instantly dump, right? It's kind of like you're decreasing the velocity of these coins, and people have to at least wait 3 or 4 weeks in Polkadot's case to unbond them. And the best thing to mitigate that is, say, if you have $1,000 and you want to participate in your staking DeFi, but you also want to have a moonbag you can sell instantly, maybe only put 40 or 50%, stake them, 30 or 40% into pools, and the rest just keep it liquid. In that way, you hedge all positions, right? And you're making yield. So I think it's just about diversification and your strategy. So that's what I'm doing as well. I have not 100% of my coins staked. I always have a little bit liquid and a little bit, or actually 20-30% in DeFi and liquidity pools and those things. And but the majority is staked. So I think that makes the most sense.
Yeah, 100%. And so, like, what type of questions do you usually get from your community in terms of staking? Is there like, do you get like specific stuff or like things that people always want to know again and again, or anything, in the realm of staking that you get a lot kind of from the chat or talking to people?
Yeah, I mean, I think the number one question people ask me is like, who should I delegate to? How do I even set up a wallet? You know, like basic things. And also this kind of like the whole staking and like figuring out whether or not you should stake. It also affects the question of the tokenomics of the coin, right? So that's also something in that context that a lot of people then ask me, oh, you know, the Atom tokenomics are really bad because it doesn't really have, you know, utility as DOT has, for example. Like we talked earlier, you have to buy DOT and lock them up. So I think that's kind of like a subsequent question when people ask me about staking and the token utility and all these kind of things. But yeah, the number one thing is choosing a validator and choosing the right wallet, right? And I think that's also something that Solana struggled for a while. Personally, I didn't even know like which wallet should I use. I think Phantom is pretty good right now, but the previous Solana wallets have been really hard to use. Same for the Polkadot wallets. So those are my main questions that I get from the community.
Yeah, thanks for sharing that. And you've already mentioned some other Cosmos ecosystem tokens, Akash, Terra, Osmosis. If you could narrow it down to just one project within the Cosmos ecosystem that you're most excited about, and tell us why that is.
Oh, if it's just one, that's a hard question, but definitely Osmosis. Osmosis is amazing. It's the best AMM DEX experience in crypto, in my opinion. They have the smartest people in the team. I met the entire team. Josh is incredible. Josh Lee, also co-founder of Kepler. Sunny is, I feel like whenever Sunny enters a room, people feel it, you know, Sunny is there. I mean, this guy is so smart and so nice and humble at the same time. It's really a great vibe to be around him. So the people are great at Osmosis, and the product is just incredible. And if you look at the numbers on mapofzones.com, for example, you could see that IBC traffic, activity, daily, monthly, weekly active users, Osmosis is killing it. Plus the tokenomics of Osmo are amazing, right? So they implemented the third inning, similar to Bitcoin's halving. Osmosis, every year, every 12 months, the inflation cuts by a third. So that's kind of like hyperinflationary for the first 1, 2, 3, 4 years. But then it goes down over time. And I was actually really surprised how stable the price is because we're right now in this hyperinflationary phase. But Osmo is still above 5, I think even above $6 right now. And the rewards are just insane, right? And I have people hit me up over the past 2-3 days like, man, please help me to set up my liquidity pools and my Osmo wallet and Kepler and this and that. So I think Osmosis to me is the still best kept secret in crypto.
Yeah, it's pretty exciting, definitely. And I feel like they also, like, once Osmosis launched, it has driven so much traction to the ecosystem, like so much is happening there right now. So that's definitely very exciting. And then, like, speaking about like general like Cosmos SDK projects, how do you analyze a Cosmos SDK project once it launches? And then like, of course, like looking at team and traction and go to market and use cases and so on, but specifically speaking about the tokenomics and on-chain economics and like looking at staking and other like general traction on-chain, like everything that is happening on-chain, and how it's set up from the economic design. What do you look for in general there?
Yeah, I mean, that's a very general question, I guess. I think you touched already upon many things. I don't think there's one specific thing that I would point out and say, hey, they have to have this, otherwise I'm not interested. It's many different things that, you know, factor in. I think the most important probably to start with is to think, does this product, does this coin, does the project have product market fit, right? Because I think many chains, especially in 2017, 2018, they had all these cool fancy white papers and great tokenomics, and now you see it with the meme coins and with the NFT projects. They might have really cool tokenomics on the paper, but then in reality it doesn't play out because nobody uses the product, right? So the biggest question is always how innovative and how ready is the product, and does it fill a niche? Does it fill a demand, right? For me, a cross-chain AMM, a cross-chain DEX with mindful tokenomics in favor of the community, a giant airdrop to start with, a smart team behind, you know, innovative technology with IBC and now Ethereum bridges, EVM compatibility, right? Those are all a lot of things that factor in, that make it interesting for me. One or two projects that I'm looking forward to launch, and that I've also personally placed strategic investments is UMI. So UMI is a lending protocol that I think makes so much sense. To, you know, there's such a strong product market fit. Just look at Aave, right? Look at Aave and say, okay, these guys killed it. Now, what if Aave was on steroids with Tournament, IBC, Cosmos ecosystem? You know, it's like, that's inevitable. So UMI is inevitable. Then another one is Axelar. That is one that's coming out. I think they're targeting mainnet launch Q1 next year. And these guys are building a communication hub in Cosmos, right? So they are kind of like trying to bring on Bitcoin on Cosmos. And I think that's also something that I'm really excited about, to see Bitcoin being like entering the Cosmoverse, entering the Cosmos ecosystem. And I think there's going to be a lot of product market fit projects out there that are still coming up. But yeah, I think also that's why I think it's really important to be an active crypto user and not just a silent observer and, you know, Binance earn farmer or whatever you want to call it. Because if you personally use all those products, you recognize, oh, hey, what if this product actually had this or that feature, right? And then a week later, you stumble upon a white paper like, this is exactly what I was looking for. So you have this moment yourself where you're like, man, this makes so much sense. And then the team is cool. You can connect with them. You can talk to them. Tokenomics are great. Many things that factor in. But I would say product market fit is still the most predominant. And then from there, everything else is secondary.
Yeah, and I couldn't agree with you more. If you're going to be investing in cryptocurrency projects, it's best to actually use these coins, whether it's participating in staking, yield farming, whatever it is, because you are the market at that point. So it's more easy to find what product will fit your needs, and you can identify which investment opportunity is better for you that way. So if you guys have any more questions in the chat, this is your time to ask them now. We're winding down with the last question here. So Cryptocito, so you've already kind of told us how you construct your portfolio, not going all in on staking, having some liquid assets. Let's talk about exit strategy. You know, sometimes people are mentioning bear market could come in the start of the new year here. We saw it back in 2018. So what is your exit strategy, and how would you advise taking that kind of approach?
Yeah, I think it's really important for people to have a plan, to say, okay, this is, for example, this is the amount of money. If I had that on my bank account in dollars or in euros, this would be absolutely amazing, right? And then another thing is to, when your portfolio hits that number, when you say, well, now I have it, but I still think we're going to do another 2-3x from here. It's very tempting, right? To like just not sell or stick with it, you know, and even though you know you should sell, but then this FOMO and greed kicks in and you're like, what if I just wait another week or two, you know? And I trap myself sometimes as well, even though some targets get hit. But the best thing I think anybody should do is, as you dollar cost average in, you should also dollar cost average out, right? Never sell everything at once. Don't unstake everything and market dump it, you know. Always set limit orders when you sell. Always go out gradually, you know, have multiple targets and say, okay, coin A outperform coin B. So I'm taking profits on coin A, put some of it in coin B, maybe some of it in stable coins, and then slowly build up a stablecoin portfolio on the side. So in case we have a crazy nasty crash like we have every other weekend, it seems, you can buy back cheaper, or you can buy things, you know. I mean, personally, I have I don't have a family, I don't have anything to pay off, I don't have any loans or anything to pay back. So I'm in a pretty like chilled, you know, situation. But I know people have families or obligations and a high burn rate per month. It's wiser to be a bit more conservative, but at the same time also to recognize trends early on and to say, okay, I'm gonna get on this train, you know, before everyone else does, hopefully, because in crypto you can only make money if you're front running the masses, not if you're chasing the masses and chasing the pumps. So I think, yeah, the biggest thing that I've learned and done is never sell everything, always keep a moon back, dollar cost average out, slowly get out of, you know, your position. But it also really depends, like how much you actually believe in that coin, right? For me, I think Cosmos makes so much sense, and I have other coins that I'm also holding, like GRT, for example, or even HBAR, where I say like, hey, this is a cool project. I really want to hold on to it. Maybe slowly like take profits when it goes too crazy, when you know have these vertical green lines to the upside. But it also really depends on, you know, your conviction of the project, of the coin, and then again slowly sell off and take profits basically. But I think in the long run, I already exited, and that is exiting the traditional financial system. 99.99% of my money is in crypto, most of it in volatile currencies, but also some of it now in stable coins. So yeah, and I don't see actually why I should get back to, like, you know, having a lot of money sitting in euro on my bank account doing nothing. So yeah.
That's a hell of a statement right there. He's already exited 99% out of the traditional finance ecosystem.
Yeah, man.
Cool. So now we're getting into the community question part here. So we had one from Jamie T, referencing Zcash moving to the Cosmos SDK recently. Who's next?
That's a good question. I don't know. Honestly, I think what a lot of projects are right now working on is to bridge over Ethereum, Ethereum liquidity, Ethereum smart contracts over onto Cosmos. So I think FMOS is a project that is working on that. There's going to be the Ethereum hub on Cosmos. I also talked with Emin about this, you know, to get Avalanche on Cosmos, and he's like, yeah, we should implement IBC. I know we're going to work on it, blah, blah, blah. But I think they have a little bit of a different kind of like focus right now. Maybe it's not the right time to do this. Terra just implemented IBC, so that's another one, a big one that just came. The Graph actually announced at Cosmoverse that they're going to be launching on Cosmos as well. So that's a big one. And yeah, I'm just trying to scroll through CoinGecko. I think there's a lot of them that are at least EVM compatible, which means that once FMOS goes live and Kronos, the Crypto.com chain, you will natively, without having to ask for permission or waiting for the team to like announce we're going on Cosmos, you can just bridge over liquidity and like, okay, users can choose which chain they want to use. So I think we're going to see more and more of that. And then again, like I said earlier, at one point it's going to be a network effect, and there's no way back. So yeah. But I would also love to see Monero, actually. I think Monero would be cool.
That would be amazing.
Yeah.
Maybe all the old school coins coming to Cosmos now.
Yeah, maybe.
Now Zcash, now Monero, Litecoin, everything will follow. Who knows?
Yeah.
Yeah. So we have another question from AOW95 asking like about the phrase, the more tokens are staked, the higher is the price volatility of the token. What do you think about the comment?
I think the more tokens are staked, the higher the price volatility. Okay, so I think what this could potentially mean is, well, if you stake coins, they're basically out of the market, right? They're not sitting as liquidity in pools or on exchanges, right? So basically, the more coins are out there, the less coins are liquid on exchanges, means that less money or money would move the markets faster, right? If some whale would either buy or sell large amounts of coins, then it would move the price of the coin, right? Because most of it is locked away. So I think that's at least how I would answer that. Or do you have other thoughts?
Yeah, that makes sense. It's probably maybe it's just like a kind of leveraged volatility because there's less overall in the market. It just becomes more like if a whale buys a lot, it will have a bigger spike. If it sells a lot, it will have a bigger spike in the downside.
Yeah. Agree. That's why I think for some coins it makes sense to not even have too deep liquidity on decentralized exchanges for especially, because if the liquidity is really really deep and you want the price to go up, like even whale money is not going to move the markets as much as you wish it was, right? So I think just gradually increasing the liquidity as the adoption increases and grows, I think that's a good strategy, and that's why I'm also happy to see that most pools on Osmosis and also in the Gravity DEX, they don't have crazy billions in liquidity from the foundations, from the projects, from everyone, right? I'm sure they help to jumpstart it, but they also make it possible so that the community still can earn high yields also, and that the price kind of like the price discovery does this thing by itself and not being kind of like impacted and manipulated from outside.
Well, thank you so much for providing all this interesting insights to us here today, Cryptocito. For Jamie T and AOW95, if you'll please reach out to us on Twitter via DM, we can hook you guys up with a Staking Rewards t-shirt. You can also find Staking Rewards t-shirts in our redeem section on StakingRewards.com. You can actually exchange some of your heart tokens for those t-shirts directly there. So, Cryptocito, how can more people follow you or learn more about the stuff you're working on? Where can they find you?
Well, the best is obviously YouTube. I also just launched a Cryptocito Clips channel, Cryptocito. Then Twitter, also at Cryptocito, and Telegram. I have a Telegram group. It's called Cryptocitos_friends, FRENS, like the crypto people say it. So those are the three places I'm active. When you join Telegram, I think the best way is actually to go on my Twitter profile and click on the link there, because there's scam groups already that if you would just type it in on Telegram, you most likely end up in a scam group. So don't do that. Go on my profile, click the link there, and that's basically it.
Awesome. Be sure to check that out, guys. And check out previous episodes of Staking Mondays available on Spotify and our YouTube channel. And be sure to read our SR20 index, which was released last week. Nice SR20 header on the StakingRewards.com page as well. So please like and subscribe to our channel. Like this video, share it around. As always, happy staking, everyone. And this episode was sponsored by P-Stake, a liquid staking solution for the Cosmos ecosystem and beyond. Thanks, Cryptocito.
Thank you, guys.
With pStake, users can stake assets like Atom through the pStake protocol to gain staking rewards. pStake users also receive a wrapped asset, which represents the underlying staked asset. These derivative tokens can be used on Ethereum-based DeFi platforms, with support for more networks in the future, so users can maximize their yield by providing liquidity on DEXs. They can also be used as collateral for loans and much more, in addition to receiving staking rewards for the underlying asset. Why choose between staking rewards and DeFi opportunities when you can have both with pStake?